Hello, my name is Chad DeWolf, and I am a student at Kennesaw State University. This is my final research project on blended learning, middle school students' perspectives. The orientation of the problem is basically that we have a lot of technology now in our classrooms and schools, along with our students that bring it. So the question is, do we utilize that technology in the classroom, or do we keep it out of the classroom? Which way improves student learning and achievement? The problem is we have a lot of teachers that may believe blended learning works and some that don't. But we really didn't ask the question to the students, how do you think you learn best? And maybe what are some ways that we can help you? We think possibly including technology into the curriculum might be a possible solution to help increase test scores and achievement. So the purpose of this study is to figure out what actually do middle school students think, what are their perspectives and perceptions about a blended learning environment. The research question, there's only one in this research project, is how do middle school students perceive a blended learning environment? So our goal is to identify the students' perspectives, develop and answer the research question, implement the data collection through the observations that I conducted, the interviews and survey that I pushed out to all the student participants, and identify any threats, including bias, and some other things as well as we get through this presentation. The significance of this research project is that we might be able to tap into a new and different technology-friendly way to reach our current students where they're already comfortable, and that's with using technology. We do have, obviously, some of this going on every day here or there, but it's not necessarily embedded into the actual curriculum or concept maps or anything else, possibly even lesson plans by teachers. So maybe this will help grow technology into those different avenues for education. There are a definition of terms in which you can understand what actually is a blended learning environment. Definition of terms just helps the researcher explain better what the words they're using in their research paper are. It was important to include the reviews of literature so that everyone reading the research understands that my research has been done as well on the topic of blended learning, and to basically, if possible, draw some parallels and connect the previously done research of blended learning to the current research that I'm doing right now on blended learning. So the first one was geared towards understanding student and faculty perceptions. So obviously this was done at a college level. At the same time, we're trying to figure out what student perspectives are. The second one of the research that we did with the Lit Review was a teacher action research project, which is the focus on middle school students, specifically in a writing group. So this researcher wrote a research paper on how students' perspectives, or what they were in regards to a blended learning environment. Our methodology was qualitative and it was a case study. The overall process of research was based on this idea, and it's going to definitely help answer the research question, which was, what are middle school students' perspectives on blended learning environment? So here's our data collection in the month of September. The student participants did a survey. I did 2 different interviews, and then an observation and collection of documents, and the actual lesson itself. So I observed the students in a blended learning environment, which was in my classroom. The survey consisted of 11 questions in a Google Forms doc. It was basically just to using technology also to gather the information, so that was very easy to help sort the data. Again, 2 student interviews. They came face-to-face with me, scripted questions. They had the same exact questions, and they were recorded and coded later on for data verification, peer review, and just for the ability to make sure that everything I found in the interviews was actually said, and it was confirmed by the students as well. I also collected some student work in an online document, which was a combination of a social studies and English assignment combined into one. Once I had all the data, I analyzed it, which helped me to better understand what the students were trying to tell me about their perception about a blended learning environment. I filtered, I peer reviewed, I sent it off, I had the students look at it as well, and we tried to get an overall understanding of what the data was telling me. So it's essential to hold up the truth found in data. You've got to be reliable, it's got to be valid, and most importantly, I believe it's got to be credible, because if you don't trust the researcher and you don't trust the data that's coming from, we don't really have anything here to talk about. So triangulation was important. I had to get 3 different methods of data collected, and that was through observations, interviews, and surveys, and I needed to make sure it was checked through peer reviews and member checks. So it's not just my eyes looking at this data, it's someone else's as well. I identified my biases and have done so again just now. So it's very important that I am credible and the data is credible so that this research can be taken seriously. Ethical considerations, just like it was important for me to make sure you know my bias, it was very important to make sure you don't know who my students are in this research process. So I took care of that. I made sure I didn't use any names, and I respected their anonymity. Made sure the data was safe and secure by putting it into a Google folder in the Google Drive, which I had only access to. It was not shared with anyone. I included the survey results, interview results, documentation, data coding. I had to take some pictures, included that as well, and used Microsoft Office Word, which was very fun to learn how to code the interviews through that program. So you could, in the final presentation and in the data presentation, see exactly what my thinking was, what my understanding was in the accumulation of all the data that I got from this observation and interview and survey. We learned that the students reported a positive perspective of blended learning. They would choose blended learning if possible. And most importantly, what I got was that the students expect technology to be used in the classroom. They don't want to have to turn it off. So if they expect to use it and we have it, we as the teachers, I think, need to understand what this really means. They're asking to learn with their technology, so we need to figure out how to do that. So what are the implications? We can reach more students if we understand how to use technology in the classroom. This might be an unknown for a lot of educators, but again, the smartboard, when it first came out, interactive screens, touch screens, tablets, it's always new. So with the kids using it, we need to learn what they know already so that we can use their toys as educational tools in the classroom. We need to really start discussing what blended learning is with the students and teachers so that a consensus can be made about, okay, do we want to do this or not? And if so, do we want to try this with certain teachers in the school or just the whole school? So we need to make, as educators, some conscious decisions about what's best for our students, not necessarily what's best for our teachers. And if we are going to go into a blended learning model, we need to make sure we train our educators to put them in the best possible position to make sure that they're successful so that their students are successful in the overall learning in their educational exploration of everything that they're going to be learning from now until whenever. So that's my recommendation as well. This is the end of the presentation. Hope you've enjoyed it. All right, take care now.